What's up, ATOZ Sports Live on a Friday, wrapping up another week of this Titans season as they get ready to head to Indianapolis to face the dominant Colts. We'll talk about that game later on in the show, but L'Jarius Sneed goes back on injured reserve. If it feels like deja vu, it's not that far off. It was like a week later than it was last year when L'Jarius Sneed got his quad injury that cost him the rest of his season, his first season with the Titans. But now another quad injury. We don't know if it's the same quad, the same injury or what, but he is on injured reserve as of yesterday, which means he is going to miss a minimum of 4 games. But is he done as a Titan? And I think regardless if he comes back from injury, his goose is cooked. We'll talk about that and how he compares to other big Titans flops of all time. Because of the contract situation, the trade, all the things that went into that. And then we'll revisit another Rand Carthon trade that I think is sneaky under the radar bad. But at the time, it was totally understood. And so JT will talk through that. Then I will tell you one thing that I am hoping for in this game against the Colts. I am not on the game day show. That'll be JT and Easton this upcoming week at 3:25 Central on Sunday afternoon. We'll talk about Margaritaville here in a second, but we'll do a little hope at the end of the show before our good news to try to end on some positivity after L'Jarius Sneed is nothing but negative on his first year and a half with the Titans. JT, what's up? Welcome in. Let's get this thing rolling.
Yeah, what's up? Good to see you. Good morning, A to Z crew. What's up, chat? Good to see all of you guys here. Like you said, yeah, it's gonna be like 45 minutes of negativity until
maybe 35.
Maybe 35. Maybe we'll give you 10 minutes back, and then we'll get back to positivity potentially for this team. So we're happy Friday. We're almost there. Excited to get going today, talking about this and looking at the Titans as they continue to just look worse and worse every single week somehow. But excited to talk to you guys this week and get going. So.
Yeah, tell the people they got to do. We got to
share the show.
Sorry. Like show. Yeah, come on. We got to go the whole mile. We got to get more people.
Slow morning. Make sure you guys like the show. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like the show. Make sure you're subscribed on the A to Z Sports YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the Titans content we're bringing you every single day. If you're on Facebook, hit that like button as well, please, so that I can make up for missing out on that now. Please hit that like button. Lock in. Like the page, and then share the show with a friend who wants to vent about the L'Jarius Sneed trade. Now, Austin, we can get going.
All right, let's get officially welcoming to ATOZ Sports here, powered by BTA Sports every weekday morning at 8 Central Time. I'm Austin Stanley. He is JT Runke. We are Nashville's on-demand sports network, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show are segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Follow us there at ATOZ Sports. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors, so they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you. Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. We got the Barton Drury Insurance Group because they have customized solutions for all of your insurance needs at bartondrury.com. Botero Carts, life is short, buy a golf cart with 2 locations in Columbia and in Gallatin, boterocarts.com. And Window Nation. Buy 2 windows. You get 2 windows free. No payments for 2 years. That is at windownation.com with a free estimate there. So, look, L'Jarius Sneed is on injured reserve. Let's see. We do have the injury update graphic. We'll use this later on in the show, but it is a long list for the Titans. And L'Jarius Sneed was on this on Wednesday when they did not practice with a quadricep. And then the double dash there on Thursday was because he went to injured reserve and no longer needed to be on injury reports because he is out for at least the next 4 games. And so it's frustrating because L'Jarius Sneed is a very good football player, or was a very good football player for the Kansas City Chiefs for 4 years. And won multiple Super Bowls and was cornerback 1 for the last couple of years he was in KC. He's had this knee injury. We knew about it. We talked about it. We wrote about it. We published things at A to Z Sports. We had shows about L'Jarius Sneed is something. Don't do it. Don't trade for it. Yes, he hasn't missed the game because of the knee, but it feels like he doesn't practice. The things are going to happen here, right? And it's just been a disaster, right, JT? So just want to get your thoughts out of the gates on what L'Jarius Sneed has been, because another quad injury that sends him to injured reserve. And we don't know if he's out for the year or not. There's 10 games left. He's going to miss at least 4 of them. But your thoughts overall on L'Jarius Sneed this season when he's been on the field, and then just the experiment overall.
Yeah, the experiment is a total failure. Just another one in the long line of experiments that have failed for this team over the last 3-4 years or so. But the L'Jarius Sneed situation, and I guess tenure, I think I can wrap up with the sense that it is all bark and no bite, because for how much coaches and national analysts and everyone continue to talk about L'Jarius Sneed being, he is this lockdown stud corner, but when he came to the team, when he got injured, you had heard Brian Callahan, you heard Mike Borgonzi in his first press conference, you heard Jannard Wilson every week say when Sneed's going to be out there, it's going to be, we have no trouble with Sneed. Like, he's going to be the guy we know he can be. Even L'Jarius Sneed, when he said the lights come on, when the lights come on, you're going to know which L'Jarius Sneed. And then it feels like it's never even come close to surmounting to that type of L'Jarius Sneed level. And I think you just look back at it, and that's all it was. It was talk. It was an idea that you were getting this type of player, and he's never been that player. And I think that kind of sums it up. They made that trade, which we'll talk about the what they gave up and things like that to get him, and the money that they gave him. But I think you look at the whole and you're just like, this was a trade where it seemed like the team was talking about a totally different player than they had traded for.
Yeah. Yeah. And so let's look at the contract situation overall for L'Jarius Sneed, because not only did you give up a 3rd round pick for him, you signed him to a large $76 million contract after the fact. Now, the good thing is the potential outline on Spotrac is after the 2025 season. So the majority of his guaranteed money was in the first 2 years of this deal. So the dead cap number for next year is just over 8 and just over 4 over the next 2 seasons for, 12.1-ish, $12.2 million of dead cap over 2 seasons. I think that is way better than paying him another $30 million of base salary over the next 30 plus, almost $31 million, plus the bonuses that would be on the roster over the next 2 seasons. So his goose is cooked, because regardless of if he comes back here or not, I think this season he is done at the end of the season. And so you talk about biggest flops in franchise history. This is one of them, because of what you traded a 3rd round pick to get him. Then you signed him to all this money. And so I don't know, JT, if you have other big flops that come to mind with L'Jarius Sneed that can be in contention with L'Jarius Sneed. I think he's up there. I think one that I have to go back in time to think of like contract size that maybe some of the chat won't remember. I don't know if you haven't been around the Nashville media as long back here, but like Andy Levitri was a massive swing and a miss whiff as an offensive lineman, a guard that came in for like $60 million and was just bad, was just flat out bad. But he played. It's not like he got hurt like this. And so, people were saying Julio Jones in the chat, like, and Andre Johnson. Yeah. Andre Johnson didn't have a lot of money to it. Like, it was a pretty cheap deal. Julio Jones was traded for not that big of a price, and his contract wasn't that big either.
Yeah, I have to go back and look at what they gave up for Julio, because if I remember correctly, the pick that the Falcons got for him was not nothing. Like, I think it turned into a pretty decent player for them down the road. it is like, yeah, I would say like Julio in terms of trade compensation. It's like Julio. I also agree. Like
2022 second rounder.
second rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not nothing. That for what Julio Jones was at the time. I mean, I feel like when that trade went down, the initial reaction was the Falcons just somehow lucked their way out of a out of a deteriorating situation. Which, you know, I think Julio had a moment or two here, but never put it all together like he did for many years in Atlanta. And so yeah, that's not nothing, right?
But
And so
the Titans only paid him $15 million.
sure, but
So that wasn't that big
pick.
of a deal, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like L'Jarius Sneed, now how much did they pay L'Jarius Sneed already? I have to bring the contract back up, but they've paid him a base salary of all the signing bonuses of all those four numbers right there in the middle, which is close to $20 million, right? And then you have the base salary of 4 plus 18. So they paid him a lot of money already to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Fair. Yeah. It's not great. And that's why I kind of come back to it, because he's done nothing. And yet the continuous talking points around L'Jarius Sneed for the last year and a half until about now were that this team believes that he was still the L'Jarius Sneed that he was in Kansas City. And they continued to believe that even into the beginning of this year. And we just never saw it. I don't know if that's because they knew what he could do on his own and they didn't have the pieces around him to support him being his best. I think that's hard to say when you go back to that Texans game and you look at what they did there. You go back, when he played that man coverage on that, like I think it was we just never saw the L'Jarius Sneed that everybody continued to say was going to be here, and I think that's the most frustrating part.
For sure. Now I
the
brought
last thing I'll say is like it continues to, and I think this is not nothing. This is a little, maybe people forget the history of this, but I understand that this was under Rand Carthon's regime. But if you remember correctly, Rand Carthon was not exactly the guy heading up this trade for.
I think that. Look, Rand Carthon was the guy who called the shot to make the trade. Now, I think this is where I think this whole situation gets misconstrued, because Chad Brinker is the one who was on the phone with the Chiefs, and Mike Borgonzi was one who was on the phone for the Chiefs with Chad Brinker. And there's irony in all that, but I think whenever a deal is getting done, you go with the person on your team that's got the best relationship with the other side. Sure. And so in that case, it was Rand Carthon was like, let's go get Sneed. And Brinker's like, well, I know Mike Borgonzi really well. I can do this. Like and if the Chiefs are, because Mike Borgonzi's on the other side, he's the assistant GM too, right? It's not like it was Brett Veach over there. Mm-hmm. So I think it's Brinker did the talking. He was the mouthpiece of the Titans for that trade. He did not decide to make the trade. I think that is the difference in this, that people think that differently, but Brinker obviously was for the trade too. So he's not completely absolved of any fault here.
Yeah. And so my larger point is that, I mean, like you said, Brinker and Borgonzi were on the phone. The people all parties involved are now here in Tennessee living with that decision to trade him, because I think you can go a step further. Mike Borgonzi, obviously, a GM job is one of 32 jobs that is very coveted in the league, but still knew what he was coming into by coming to the team that he traded Sneed away to. So like, that's also not nothing in my opinion. And it's a failure on all fronts.
Yeah. And I just realized for some reason we're getting the @ symbol on YouTube again. Borkington 6023 says, looking back on it, feels like Rand liked going out and getting the sexy names, but didn't focus on the foundation of a team. And like that was the theme of that short era. Ooh, Brian Callahan's burner account has been outed.
Yes.
I'm going to star that for later because that's off topic. But we now know the name behind that parody account. So I think when Rand was there, they wanted to skip the rebuild and just put their foot on the gas and keep plowing through and be competitive immediately. And that obviously wasn't the case. So there's a lot of flops in Titans history. I think the Julio Jones trade is definitely one of them because they gave up a 7th round pick. But at the time, you're thinking you have Ryan Tannehill, you have Derrick Henry, you have AJ Brown. Why not add Julio Jones to that mix? And that's totally worth a 2nd round pick. And you're just paying him $15 million of cash. Big whoop, right? That makes sense. And L'Jarius Sneed is a 3rd round pick and like 3 times the money that he got from the Titans and did very little with that over 2 years. So let's go ahead and ask this question from the chat here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Has L'Jarius Sneed played his last game for the Titans? Has L'Jarius Sneed played his last game for the Titans? Because he's out for a minimum the next 4 games. There are 10 games left. The next 4 games includes a bye week. So that's an extra week of recovery for anybody who's on injured reserve, including Famil Adejo, who we might talk about a little later. But has L'Jarius Sneed played his last game for the Titans? Or will he come back, play something at the end of this season, and then get cut or waived or whatever at the end of the year in the offseason? We'll get to all that. But first, I'm going to tell you guys about Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. BartonDrury.com is the website. The phone number is right there on your screen, 615-806-1265. If you are in need of coverage, it's open enrollment season, and people are always trying to have to opt into this, opt out of that. Oh my gosh, it's going to cost this. Well, now's a great time to check out Barton Drury Insurance Group and say, hey, maybe I can save some money. And A to Z Sports can help you do that. So just give them a call, 615-806-1265. Give them a call or go to the website, BartonDrury.com. You can scan that QR code there. That's also on the screen too. There's a bunch of different ways to get a hold of them and say, hey, A to Z said you can help me try to save some money on my coverage, whether it's your health, for you, your family, your home, rental insurance, auto bundle, whatever that looks like, 401k planning for the long-term process. They got you covered online, BartonDrury.com.
Still muted.
There you go.
Also brought to you by BTA Sports here. BTA, better for bettors. Use our code ATOZ14 when you download the BTA Sports app to get a 14-day free trial before a weekly subscription of $9.99. Use the link in the show description or right below that title on Facebook. Smarter bets start here. BTA Sports delivers data-driven NFL picks, tools, and projections built for serious fans and smart bettors. Smart bets, no guesswork with our friends at BTA Sports.
Okay, JT, I will send you to the chat. Has L'Jarius Sneed played his last game for the Titans? And I guess if your answer is yes, then it's pretty self-explanatory. You think he's on IR for the rest of the season and then will be cut after the season because, as we've previously shown, the contract has the potential out after this year, which would make that 4-year, $76 million deal, a 2-year, $43.5 million deal with 8.1 of dead cap. So you're saving a lot there and not having to pay him $15 million of base salary next season, if that's the case. If you don't think he's played his last game, then maybe you think he's coming back at the end of the season. Maybe you think he's not going to get cut after the season. I don't know. So what are you seeing here from the chat, JT?
Yeah, Scott says, yep. Darren, yerp. Yes. Hashtag hard. Yes. I sure hope so. Absolutely. Yes. Oh, yes. Hope so. Yeah. He better have, said Orlando. I hope so. Yes, he's done. Thank God. Wild. I mean, I pray to heaven above that he has played his last game for us. Finally. A different answer. But definitely his last season. Yes. Yes. I sure hope so. What's the buyout? Just as we just showed there.
8.1 in dead cap. If that is that's all it is. It costs 8.1 on your cap next season to not play for you compared to it would be 22 million on your cap if he does play.
Yeah. So, manageable, something you can live with. Yep, and yep, no doubt about it. Hopefully, absolutely, yes. Ali or A Sneed says, or Sheed says, we already used 2 activations. Is it still 4 in season? Is that still the rule, or is that like a thing they did
like coming back from IR?
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not sure, but if that is, he is correct. They've already used 2 of them, with Tyjae Spears and T'Vondre Sweat. So, I mean, the only 2 other guys I can think of right now that would be impactful for the team right now to come back would be Femi and Sneed. So,
yeah, well, and then anybody else if he goes on IR.
So yeah, overwhelmingly, it seems like it would be in people believe that he is done. Do you agree with them on that? Because I agree that this is his last year. I see no reason for this team to keep him around at that price point going forward. But I think Jeff brings up a good point with how bad the Titans defensive back room now looks with, as we heard from Roger McCreary yesterday, he's probably going to have to play outside a lot. We've heard some rumblings and the idea floated that you could even get Roger McCreary outside, Jalen Armour Davis or Darrell Baker on the other side. And then hell, you might see some Amani Hooker in the slot with some Kevin Winston Jr. packages. Like they have
and then you've got Marcus Harris. So
sure.
You're going to be able to see some guys like,
right. It doesn't, I mean, you can see some guys. It doesn't mean that it's going to be good.
No, it hasn't been good with Sneed out there. Like that's the problem. Fair. And this is the last season. And so somebody asked, depends if the Titans are trying to save some money. Like what? So typically when a player's on injured reserve, they get half of their game check. So that's saving money for the Titans because what was his, I keep referencing back to the contract graphic, but and his base salary this year is 18.3. That's over $1 million per game. So if every 2 games he misses right now, you could save yourself north of $5 million because there's 10 games left and you get half your game check. If he's on injured reserve for 10 games, that's, what's $5 million to save this season of cash? I don't know. I don't know what that means to Amy Adams-Strunk. I don't know what that means to Chad Brinker for Amy Adams-Strunk, but Chad Brinker who was involved in the Sneed trade, as we talked about, is trying to make it as less bad as possible. And you can make that trade a lot less bad if you earn money back from some type of contract savings because if he's on injured reserve or some type of insurance policy that might be out there. I don't know. There's ways to make it less bad in your pocketbook for your boss. And maybe that's an idea. And Jeffrey says that's why they put him on IR. I mean, not necessarily. Like you put players on injured reserve for football reasons so they don't take up one of your 53-man roster spots, and you can bring somebody up who is going to be active and can play because this guy can't for the next several weeks. So there's that is a reason you could use IR, but not the main thing. So, I think he's done. I think he's over. And I think my biggest problem with L'Jarius Sneed is not that he has gotten beat. It's the fact that his mouth talks too much and then he gets himself beat. It seems like every time L'Jarius Sneed has something to say, the next time he's out there, he gets smoked.
Yeah, it makes me think of Lightning McQueen in Cars 3.
Oh, I've not
Where-
seen Cars 3. I saw the
Well,
first one. That's it.
Lightning McQueen is on the top of his game, and then all these new cats come in and just cook him after he continues to talk, and he's the old head now. Well, L'Jarius Sneed used to be that guy, that shutdown guy, and now all these wide receivers, the younger guys, are absolutely cooking him, and he continues to have that same identity, and it just isn't working. And I think that's also adds to the embarrassment.
Yeah, and like it's the whole Nico Collins who thing, and then second and 33, you give it all up. He's gotten beat, but the 2 touchdowns, whether it's his fault or Diggs or Hooker or somebody else for the Keyshawn Butte touchdown that changed the entire game this past week, or the one to Austin Hooper earlier in the same quarter, L'Jarius Sneed finds himself like putting his foot in his mouth,
Yeah, no,
and
absolutely.
Anthony says he has something to say, just like y'all, Austin. But he continues to say things and then get it shoved right back in his face, just like he did this summer when he said this.
I'm healthy as I've been. Last year, my first year didn't go as planned, but it's time to come out and show the world and show what God been instilling in me this entire year. I'm ready to get back on the field, and that's my life. That's what I do for a living. And I missed the whole year, and I have to remind everybody who L'Jarius Sneed is.
And he didn't. He didn't remind anybody who L'Jarius Sneed is. He was bad.
Yeah, and there's also a point there to be said, like, he can talk, and then when we come on here, or even right after the game against the Texans, and we say, what happened on that play? And L'Jarius Sneed deflects and says, Is that all you saw? Next question. Like, that is not the way. Like, that is somebody who's not going to own up and is going to continue doing that. Like, I hate to say it, but like, it just, once again, it's all bark, no bite from everybody involved.
Yeah. And so look, athletes at the highest of level, it is required to have arrogance, right? Confidence, arrogance is a prerequisite requirement for an athlete to be able to do that, to go out there, especially at a position like cornerback, where the nature of the position is to get beat half the time. And so I understand that. I am not dogging Sneed for being confident in his ability, but it's when he is not willing to answer the questions after he gets beat and own up and take accountability for that bothers me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is the Nico Collins thing. That's the one play you watched. That play mattered, dude. Like, what? It matters, just like it mattered that you punched the ball out of Zay Flowers' hands in the playoff game in Baltimore to force that fumble. Like, that play matters. But that's like if Zay Flowers was asked, is that the only play that you watched of me that day? Like, what are you talking about? That was one of the biggest plays of the game. You have the other team backed up 2nd and 33, and your dumbass goes up there and tries to press coverage and doesn't bail and gets beat over the top for 37 yards. Who does that? What is that? Like, that is arrogance. That's not confidence. That is arrogance.
Yeah.
And so
absolutely.
That's what bothers me. And then you triple down on how bad that was by saying, oh yeah, I was good the other plays. I don't care. That play counted a lot.
Yeah, and I think Tall Texan brings up an interesting point in which he says Sneed is a classic example of playing to his own team status. If he was on a winning team, he'd be an all-pro again. Like, I don't think he'd be an all-pro, but I think you would see a higher level from him because of, like I said earlier, like, I think L'Jarius Sneed works because the things around him are stable and are working, and that's the most important thing. L'Jarius Sneed has always been a person who presses so hard at the line of scrimmage that he tries to take players out of the play, and yet he's lost a little bit of that edge, and he's always needed over the top a little bit of that help. He's lost the edge. There's no help over the top, and so now it all just comes back down on him, right? And so I think if he had that better support system in the secondary around him, maybe it would look different, but it doesn't. And so that's why it looks even worse. And that's why, I guess, it's even more inflamed, I guess, because of the product that he is putting out there, the product that the rest of the team is putting out there. It just looks even worse.
Yeah. James Michael McDade Jr. Says, look, guys, we were all on board for a star corner last year, and Sneed looked like that guy to many, but the fact was KC's overall defense made him look better than he was. Plus, he was injury prone, and we didn't know all of that. We got fleeced, simple as that. Carthon made a decision based on needs, but got the wrong guy. And here's what I say. No. Like, we did know this. Like, he says he was injury prone, and we didn't know at the time. Yes, we did. We knew this. It was well documented. It was out there. We published articles and had show topics that spring, February and March of 2023, of the free agent move, the offseason move to stay away from, or something. I remember we phrased it something like that. Sam wrote the article. We talked about on the show. Stay away from L'Jarius Sneed. Do not trade for him. The franchise tag conversation was going on in Kansas City. All this stuff. I know this show with me and Sam at that moment were against the move for L'Jarius Sneed. They made the trade. Okay, we'll see how it works. And it failed. It flopped big time. And yes, you needed a corner. Absolutely. But you gave up a lot to where then you had to go trade back from 35th pick in this draft to get Femi at 52 and Winston at 82nd because you didn't have a third round pick this year. And so what was that third round pick? It was like 65.
Yeah. I have the graphic right here. It was a third round pick, which I believe turned into Ashton Gillette. I believe that's the guy's name the Chiefs drafted Ashton Gillette, the defensive tackle out of Louisville, which was the third pick. It was the third pick in the third round.
Yeah, it was a high pick, high draft pick right there. Maybe 66 or 67, something like that.
Now, I will say, like, I don't know if it's fair to say that the Titans traded back because they didn't have that third. Like, I think
they did.
You think so?
Yes,
I think they would have traded out at 35 regardless if they had that pick.
I mean there was the way the board fell. Yes, it was a good trade back spot, but it was even easier to trade back because you didn't have a pick between 35 and 104 or 101 or whatever it was with DK. Sure. And so you really needed to. And you missed out on a lot of solid players there. The wide receivers were really good that went between 35 and 52.
I will say that killed them because it's not nothing that I remember during draft time we heard that it kind of bit them. It reared its ugly head because there was a lot of wide receivers around there that, I mean, you can look at what Houston did. Houston traded up and took both Iowa State guys who the Titans really, really liked. Ahead of them because they had the more capital to play with, I guess. And so that's why now they have Ioman or they have DK. So, it works out a little bit, but,
it's better than it looked at the time. But on that Friday night of the draft, I am flipping my bleep because the Titans exited the top 100 picks without a weapon for Cam Ward. I'm like, oh my God. And like I like Kevin Wilson Jr. I like the upside idea of Femi, but the fact that they got 3 guys in the 4th round made it feel a little bit better. It was still a risk, but the L'Jarius Sneed trade impacted all of that, right? And so let's look at this because that was a bad trade. We agree that L'Jarius Sneed was a really bad trade. Was it the worst trade that Rand Carthon made? Because one trade has kind of slid under the radar and has turned out to age very poorly. So we'll get to that other trade here in a second. But first, JT, tell us about our friends at Botero Carts.
Yeah, Botero Carts, life is short. Buy a golf cart, and you got to do it with our friends over at Botero Carts. Carts just starting at $6,700, 0% financing for 36 months. That's 3 years. Once again, no financing until just like with some of our other deals for a while. So you don't have to worry about that. They're open 7 days a week with a full service sales and rental dealership, which is locally owned and operated with 2 locations to serve you here in the Middle Tennessee area, one in Gallatin and their brand new location in Columbia, Tennessee. No dealer fee, no credit card fees, so no hidden fees that are going to creep up on you when you buy your shiny new golf cart that is stored indoors for your convenience. No credit needed options as well, so they're flexible when you want to go buy your golf cart because life is short. You got to buy that golf cart and buy it with our friends at Botero Carts.
BTA Sports, better for bettors. They can help you out this weekend. You got some NFL games in the slate. Favorites have been covering at a pretty crazy rate the last week and look like they might this week as well. So BTA Sports will help you out with their predictive models, their projections for not just the spread, but the totals, player props as well to make you a better sports bettor, a better daily fantasy player. And again, download that app in the YouTube description, the Facebook title. Use our code ATOZ14. You get a 14-day free trial before you have to pay $9.99 for a weekly subscription. So you get 2 big swings at it. If you play your cards right, you can get 3 football weekends out of that 14-day free trial right there with the timing of that. Entering this weekend is the perfect day to start that clock for you before you have to pay anything to make sure you start winning more and winning better with BTA Sports and code ATOZ14. Okay, here it is, the other trade. So we just kind of talked through the Sneed trade where the Titans got L'Jarius Sneed and the compensation back to the Chiefs was the 2025 third-round pick. They swapped some late-round picks in 2024. So then you have this trade that has aged poorly that our own Buck Rising pointed out. Yesterday morning, the Titans trade away safety Kevin Byard 2 years ago today, yesterday, I believe, to the Eagles for a safety Terrell Edmunds in Philly's 2024 5th and 6th round picks. So Terrell Edmunds and 2 day 3 picks. Those picks became Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and wide receiver Jaquan Jackson. None of the 3 players are still with Tennessee. Byard has played in all 33 games since the trade with a total of 6 interceptions. His 4 picks this season now in Chicago are tied for the league lead with the Jags linebacker Devin Lloyd. That's one thing I did not realize. I did not realize that KB was still balling out like that with the interceptions in that category with the Bears. But which trade was worse? Because at the time, we understood the Titans needed to trade away some assets to try to rebuild. So Kevin Byard, it made sense. It was a painful. KB was my guy. I liked KB from coming out of MTSU. I had some intel on him in the Titans before the draft and predicted that draft pick. So that was a personal media coverage blow to me of like, don't get to talk to KB anymore. So which trade was worse, Sneed's or Kevin Byard's? Because the Titans could use a safety that can make plays. And the fact that they had Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and now he is gone makes that trade feel even worse. And that, Jaquan Jackson was a waste of a draft pick.
Yeah, if you're asking me, I don't know if we want to ask the chat as well, which trade they think is worse. I still think the Sneed trade is worse. I mean, if you bring that graphic back up on Kevin Byard, there are so many different factors that you have to go into with so many different regimes for us to get here and say that the Kevin Byard trade was worse, right? I think when you go back to when they ended up shipping off Kevin Byard, you understood that this is probably the end for Kevin Byard. I remember the talks about him maybe not exactly wanting to take that pay cut. Maybe as the team was flailing down the stretch there, they sent him to Philadelphia. And listen, I remember Titans fans at the time saying how much the Titans won that trade because of how bad Kevin Byard was in Philadelphia for the end of that season. He goes out into free agency and could have signed with anybody. He could have signed anywhere, just happens to find the best situation for him in Chicago. And he's maybe gotten a second wind in his career after that last year in Tennessee and the last year with Philadelphia. Now, or I guess the last year and a half or I guess half a year.
He was with Philly for just the remainder of that year, and then he's been in Chicago for 2 years.
Yes, and so that's part of it, right? A lot of different things that you can't control. What you also can't control is the GM who made that trade being fired, and then one of obviously the Jaquan Jackson pick was, I don't know about you, but from the second that pick was put in, I was of the opinion that it was an awful pick, and we've seen that come to fruition. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., was a great pick at the time. And I thought that was one of my favorite picks of Rand Carthon that year. Rand Carthon obviously is not here anymore. And he has no control over what they did with Jarvis Brownlee Jr. So I think it's hard to say that he is one of the main reason. Like, it's hard for me to say that trade is worse than the Sneed one because of how many different factors you have.
Yeah, I think it's aged. I think when it was made initially, everybody was like, understand, right? It's a move you got to make at this point in your team is moving a core piece to get something because of his contract status and because
he also he kind of started to decline here in that last year at Tennessee, even though they were fine and they were being competitive before they shipped him off and everything went downhill. Like Kevin Byard, like that was kind of the conversation. Like he didn't really want to take that pay cut, but the play that he was putting out on the field wasn't exactly, kind of matching up to what that contract was. And they were in that pinch. And so you trade him away and then he looked like he did there. Like I think it's on Kevin Byard to go out there and revitalize that career because it was pretty much on the way out. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the Sneed trade is definitely worse. There's no doubt about that. But I do think, man, the Kevin Byard trade, you can have some revisionist history, look at it and say, like, they just botched the results, right? It's like, it's okay if you trade away Kevin Byard and get a player for now and a couple of draft picks and you save, you're saving some money. You're not having to lose him for nothing after his contract's up, all that stuff. But then you botch the draft picks on the other side. It's like, if you're going to, like, all these people, all these Titans fans and national media are saying the Titans are going to be a fire sale because they need more draft picks and more assets. Yeah, but you got to do something with the draft picks. And then you have to have stability from the coaching staff and the front office to have the same football vision long enough for those draft picks to even try to have a chance to develop.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's tough, right? Because you would have, that's why I think the Sneed trade is worse, because where this team is right now, you would have really liked to have that 3rd round pick this past year, even when I still believe that they would have traded back regardless if they had that one as well, because I mean, the messaging all offseason was we want as many top 100 picks as possible. And if you had that one, I still think they would have looked at 35 and said, we'll take another one and have
imagine if you had one with Cam Ward, then you had 52, 66, 67, and then 82, right?
Yes.
Now you've got 3 instead of 2. Now maybe you have Finney and Winston at their original spots, but you throw in another one of those receivers
Isaac
that went
Tesla, Kyle Williams, Jalen Knoll, any of
those guys that went in the 60s to 70s that
or
off
even
the board before
or even
82.
a young corner.
Or even
young quarterback.
Jesus. Absolutely. No doubt about that. All right. So the YouTube poll that I put up is overwhelming. 83% Sneed trade is way worse as that's continued to age. So, all right, let's go ahead and get to the rest of our show here today. We've discussed enough of L'Jarius Sneed for today. You said 45 minutes. Well, we're under the time. It's 43 minutes. 44 minutes of L'Jarius Sneed conversation. So let's talk about shift gears. What's one thing you hope goes the Titans' way versus the Colts on Sunday? What's one thing that you're just hoping goes the Titans' way versus the Colts on Sunday? We understand it's a big spread. I heard you guys talking yesterday about what would the spread have to be for you to take the Titans plus the points. I said plus 21.5. It's not that. So
I said plus 18.5. So.
Plus 18.5. That makes sense as well. That's probably the second lowest one. But what's one thing you hope goes the Titans' way versus the dominant Colts on Sunday? JT, tell us all about the Bone and Joint Institute.
Yeah, the Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who to trust. And that's why we here trust the Bone and Joint Institute. which is located in Franklin, right off 65. I've ogled at that building for the past week and a half because I'd never seen it before. But I mean, it's very impressive because with over a dozen specialists, they can help you through any type of injury with that state-of-the-art rehab facility on campus to help your recovery. And they can do everything under one roof for your convenience, whether that's the clinic, testing, imaging, surgery, or rehab. Don't fumble your recovery. To schedule an appointment, go to boneandjointtn.org.
Shout out to BTA, Better for Betters. Download the app. It's really easy. It's super easy to do this. And guys, we're not asking you to spend any money. We're just saying 14-day free trial, give it a shot, because you can do that by clicking the link on our Facebook title or the YouTube description. Use the code ATOZ14. That's ATOZ14. You get a 14-day free trial to test out BTA Sports app. Check out their models or projections and their player prop predictions as well to help you become a better sports bettor for this weekend NFL slate with BTA Sports Better for Betters. JT, I will send you to the chat. What's one thing the chat is hoping goes the Titans' way in this game versus the Colts?
Yeah, well, Edward, not helping us out here to begin with, says it's hard to think of anything. Thank you, Edward, for your contribution there. Eric says no penalties would be a huge win. Jeff says
no penalties. How about just limiting penalties?
Jeff says make Colts punt more than 2 times. Hey, that's a banner that the Titans can hold this year.
Wouldn't 2 be an upgrade anyway from 1?
I think the Colts punted twice in that game.
Maybe 1 late when it didn't matter.
Yeah, I'm maybe misremembering, but make the Colts punt more than 2 times. Jason says ball security. Darren says just score more than 13 points, please. I think that one's fair. Scott says Cam has no turnovers and 2 touchdown passes. Mike Bell says protection for Cam. Ira Hoshi says a pass rush for once. An upset would be nice. Jake with a good one. The coin toss. The coin toss is what he's looking forward to. The Colts would have to implode here potentially for him to have a silver lining. Kenneth says win, no turnovers, ball security. You want to get to mine real quick, and then I can get to more because I think I'm gonna get we're gonna end, like I said, we're ending on a positive note. We're ending on some good news to end this Friday, right? Like, what's the one thing that I hope that goes the Titans' way versus the Colts this weekend? I hope that the chat gets their revenge this weekend, and we see Chimere Dike rip a return touchdown. As American Top says, a DK return touchdown. Show me what all of you guys are talking about. Show me how.
What, you haven't seen it?
I'm being.
Come on. You got drugged Wednesday.
I'm being tongue in cheek, but show me some points off of it. That would be nice. I think that's still fair to say, and I think the Titans could have a potential to have that. If they're going to be in this game whatsoever, right? And it goes back to this comment just a second ago, in which the Colts would have to implode, or some weird stuff would have to happen. And we've seen weird stuff happen in divisional games before, right?
Yeah.
A return on a punt or a kickoff would certainly help with how poor this team is getting into the red zone or even getting close. I believe last time. I mean, I think there was a stat. It was like 15 drives in between red zone trips for the Titans last week or something like that. It wasn't a small number. And so I think you're going to need things like that to happen if you want to have any chance this week.
Yeah. All right, we'll get to mine. Here's what I want. I don't want the Colts to go on these drives on offense that take like 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Screw that. And I told you when you seen this in our pre-show call, I don't give a shit about the Titans defense anymore. I'm over it. I don't care. They can do whatever the hell they want to do. The defense to me from now moving forward is completely irrelevant. Be as bad as you want. Just don't let a team take up half a freaking quarter so I don't see more Cam Ward. All I care about is the Titans offense. I want to see as many opportunities for Cam Ward, this offensive line, Io Manor, DK, Spears, Helm, Chig, everybody else to just have opportunities for possessions. And the Chargers are going to next week just squeeze the life out of you and make this like a 5-possession game for the Titans offense. That's the worst case scenario. If the Colts are going to put up 35, great. Do it, but score in a drive that's no longer than 4.5 minutes. Just go. Get it over with. So Cam can get the ball back and go do something. I don't care about the defense because if we look at the injury report, it doesn't matter anyway, right? Sebastian Joseph Days, okay, he's banged up. Arden Key at least going in the right direction. James Lynch is now banged up because Jeff Simmons probably ain't going to play. You look at Jod Ward, he's okay. He's kind of banged. Xavier Woods, there's Sneed's out. Who's going to be on the corner? I don't care anymore. Like the players on defense that are going to be playing in this game are mostly irrelevant. So just get out of the way so Cam get the football and go play more offensive snaps. That's what I want to go the Titans' way.
I think that is I can't blame you for that. And with how the defense looks to be shaping up, like you said, you're gonna have like Draymond Jones and maybe Jahad Ward / Jalen Harrell on the outside. You're gonna have Tavondre Sweat and Shai Tuttle in the middle.
Perfect.
You're gonna have your linebacker core is good. You're gonna have Cedric Gray and Cody Barton
playing
some soft coverage.
Down. Yeah.
you're gonna have those two guys playing soft coverage in there. But then on the outside, you got Roger McCreary going up against Michael Pittman, which is an automatic L. You have the other side with Darrell Baker and JAD going up against Alec Pierce, L. You got Marcus Harris in the slot probably against Josh Downs. That's an L. And then hopefully Kevin Winston and Amani Hooker back there. Otherwise, Xavier Woods and Quandre Diggs are going to get beat over the top as well because they don't know their assignments apparently every single week. So I think you have good reason to believe that if the Colts wanted to, they could just take the top off. And I didn't even mention Tyler Warren.
That guy. That guy is really good.
Yeah, he's really good. And Jonathan Taylor. I think they could just, like we said yesterday, I think the over-under right now in Jonathan Taylor's yards is 98.5 and his longest over-under is 19.5. I already took both of those. I think if they can't stop him at the line, they're not going to stop him in the secondary. So I agree with you, and I think
I just think it doesn't matter. Jeff is good, we know that he's not getting traded. So okay, great. Cedric Gray and Kevin Winston Jr. and maybe Marcus Harris are truly the only people that I care about defensively in their development for the rest of the season. Outside of that, don't care. They need to get better players anyway. So at least just get out of the way so we can see more Cam Ward in the offensive young pieces.
Sharman asks, is Winston Jr. going to play this week? He's been playing for 3 weeks. I don't know where
he's going to play a lot.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. That's where we're looking at that as. I think you are. I think we heard Denard Wilson say they wanted to get to Kevin Winston Jr. packages last week and they weren't able to. But in the 3 plays that he was able to, Denard said he looked great and he had a tackle. He contributed to a tackle for loss. So I think getting him out there would be very, very helpful for this team. But yeah, I show some life on offense. And I think give Cam Ward as many tries as possible to work on his footwork and live game action and work on that technique. And once again, it's embarrassing. It's laughable that we're talking about this for an NFL franchise, but hey, that's where we are. And I'm
trying to focus on my brain is in 2026. So
I think most people's are even
Edward says, at least get out of the way. It's diabolical. Yeah. All right, let's get to some super.
Hey, if Jonathan Taylor gets to the second level, let him go. Just let him go.
Yeah, let's get to the super chat here before we wrap up with some good news. Fayette says, thoughts on the O-line looking better without the thigh slap head bob snap. Thigh slap head bob snap.
I think he's talking about like that.
Yeah. I think ease of timing it killed us. Love the show. Thanks for the comment. Man, appreciate it. Love the show. I guess they did not do that this past week against Patriots.
Listen, I thought they looked really good in those first 3 drives.
4 drives.
They scored. Well, I think the offensive line looked good in 3 drives. And then after that, because I put a tweet out. I was like, I'm surprised that, like, Cam Ward is looking good because the offensive line is holding up, and then it didn't after that. So like, I hope it continues to trend in the right direction. And like, here's the thing. If it does continue to trend in the right direction, it's not because anything changed. I mean, we talked to our new two-headed offensive line coach monster in Scott Fuchs, and I forget his first name, but his last name is Jones, one of the other assistant offensive line coaches. Yesterday, and we basically were like,
"You say Jonesy,
just Jonesy." We essentially asked them like, "Hey, now that Bill's gone, has anything changed?" And they're like, "No, like we're just gonna continue to teach what we've been teaching." Yeah. So like it's not for a lack of changing there. If people want to like blame, thank goodness we got rid of Bill Callahan. Now it's gonna get better. It's the same thing is being taught.
Yeah, and so as far as like the thigh slap, head bob snap, all that, like they were at home, right? Like that's a crowd control thing. But one thing I did notice last week was they were at the line of scrimmage earlier in the play clock than they were previously, and that happened actually. Man, I guess Easton was supposed to ask that question, but I forgot to tell him. Ask it. So we'll see if that happens again on Sunday.
It's not like Mike McCoy's going to tell you,
right?
Anyway, so.
Fair, but we'll see if that's a thing on Sunday, or if that was just like a random circumstance thing there too. Jeff has a couple super chats. Austin going to triple down, guarantee a win this time? No. Why would I do that? That's dumb. Like in week 3, when I guaranteed the Titans to beat the Colts, is because the Colts were a candidate to be the Saints Award of the 2-0 fraud. But turns out they're not. They're good. They're great. They are a legitimate contender. So
I also will be with you on that. I remember saying that I thought they were going to win and felt pretty good until I got to the stadium that day, and like something took me over, and I said they're going to get their ass kicked.
Well, it's because you saw them warming up, and they didn't want to play, right?
I guess
you saw what Michael Pittman Jr. saw.
I guess so, but like I literally went in there and I was like, I have this bad feeling, and it happened. So.
Yep. All right. Jeff says trade Sneed to the Browns for a 4th or the Dolphins.
Here's the last thing on that, right? Sneed will be on IR until
through the trade
after the trade deadline. So even if they wanted to trade him, they can't. So
yeah, or
they missed the boat on that one.
Nick Ewing, Austin, do you still think Trevor Lawrence is better than Daniel Jones? LOL. Like, you're making fun of me for a comment that the majority of the NFL thought, 8 weeks ago. Daniel Jones deserves credit for a turnaround. But 8 weeks ago, before the season starts, nobody thought this was Daniel Jones. Anybody that predicted the Colts to be the number 1 team in the AFC by Halloween is crazy. Maybe that Seth Colts fan guy. Maybe him. Outside of that, nobody really thought this. Nick,
this is our Colts though. This is our
team. Like, yeah. Jeez. All right. Let's get us some good news. Ain't that good news to wrap us up on a Friday? If you have good news, share it in the chat. We've got some good news. I've got some good news. I've got new windows coming next month from Window Nation. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free at windownation.com. It's a very easy process to start. You go to Window Nation, you type in free estimate. You type in your info, tell them you heard them on ATOZ Sports, and then they will call you pretty quickly to say, hey, what's a good time to come over to check out your windows? The presentation was great. The people are respectful, professional, and pleasant, and the product is really good. And so we're excited. Our windows are getting manufactured right now. They're going to save us money from our bills because right now our current metal builder grade windows are at negative when it comes to our bills every month, and our windows from Window Nation will up the value of our home, the aesthetics of our home and keep the temperature what we want it to be inside of our home, and just improve our life with our windows. And so we're pumped about that with Window Nation at windownation.com. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free. So take advantage of that because you don't have to pay anything for 2 years at windownation.com. To Wilson County Hyundai, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Right there. So good news time to send us to the weekend. If you got any good news in the chat, JT, that you see, I will let you start with the chat and we'll go from there.
Yeah, Jeff kicks us off with his job saga that started a couple weeks ago when he said he was on an interview while watching the show and being active in the comments. Once again, I guess maybe his employers either didn't see that or
I imagine that was a virtual interview.
Yes.
And not like a in person where you just sit there on your phone.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I got to answer my one word real fast.
Jeff says, good news. Got hired on seasonal at UPS, making $21 an hour, hoping to get brought in full time after the holidays. That is great news there for sure.
There you go, Jeff. That means Jeff can keep on sending those super chats.
SGG Lover 24. Once again, these ats are crazy. Like, I think that's Rooney. It's
Glover, not Lover, you goof.
Oh, see, that's my, I can't.
Oh, SGG Lover 24.
If I knew that it was him.
Yeah, Rooney. Glover.
Yeah, Rooney. Okay. Good
news.
Really, fall foliage.
This is a true like Celebrity Jeopardy SNL skit where it's like reading the categories as Sean Connery inaccurately. Yeah, this is what.
Yeah. He says fall foliage train ride Saturday sounds fun there. Good news. I dumped barbecue sauce all over my boss's lap at dinner the first time I met him because the bottle broke. It'll be in my review. How is that good news? I'm not sure, but it's funny. So thank you. Good news. Been watching some film on 2026 prospects. Going to be some promising edge guys and wide receivers for the Titans to pick. I do agree there. And says good news. She scored in the 96th percentile nationally for her nursing pre-boards. That's
also awesome. In the 96th percentile of trivia players.
Absolutely.
Probably higher than that.
Good news. Got to take my 7-year-old daughter deer hunting yesterday. Didn't see a deer, but she had a blast and wants to go again soon. That's awesome. Just have to drive 2 hours from St. Louis to watch K-State basketball tonight at the exhibition game versus Mizzou. Screw the football teams. It's basketball season. That's right around the corner. You are correct there. So yeah. Austin.
There was
is there one more?
LeBron rigged games coming from Hello Ladies. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Oh man. Justin, good news. I got a 3-day weekend taking my family to a pumpkin patch on Monday. There you go. For sure.
I totally missed this one. I apparently this sounds like Pee Wee football, but it took me a second to get there. Good news, my boys micro midgets are 8-1 with the 2 seed in the playoffs in 2 weeks. I was like, what is this, like wrestling or something? No.
Did you see? There was a video that came out after the Giants and Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo beat the Eagles. There was a video that circulated on social media from I don't know what year. But it was Cam Scatterbo's older brother's high school football coach talking about the older Scatterbo. And the coach was like, yeah, but he's got that little brother there, Cam, who's playing with the midget team right now, who's going to be he's a really good running back. He's a lot faster than his brother is. And then I was like, what did he say?
That's crazy.
Forgetting that, like, in certain parts of the country, they call a guy, they call that league midgets. Hello Lady says, your hero is a fraud, Austin. Hell, ladies, do you think my hero is LeBron James? Because I don't care about LeBron James. Is that what you're saying?
Listen, I already got my fix for the NBA season. I'm staying out of this. So
Zach is the LeBron guy. I am not. I do not care about LeBron James. I have not watched a full NBA game since pre-COVID.
Yeah, I watched the finals last year because one of my friends is a Pacers fan, and then I watched some of the finals the year before because I have a Celtics fan as well, who's one of my friends. Besides that, nope. You will not catch me watching a single basketball game until maybe the finals. Who knows?
Yeah. Curtis asks, who is Austin's hero? Yeah, I don't like do that. I don't like celebrity idol. I never really have done that. I don't have like this. Like I was a Kobe guy, but like, like I didn't go out of my way to be Mr. Mamba or have Mamba stuff all over the place. I loved King Griffey Jr. as a kid, but I was also like 12. Like, so
Yeah.
yeah. So that's not really what
I heard Wemby is already the MVP, so that's all I need to know for this year, and we'll go there. Yeah, go Blue Jays. Scott says, go Blue Jays. That's could also be good news. Let's see a team other than the Dodgers win the World Series tonight, or at least start it off. So,
JT, did you have good news?
Oh yeah, my good news is your boy made some big money last night on a Rondé Gadsden. His over under was like 42.5. I had an escalator on that. I had like 60 plus and an anytime touchdown. Went for 77 and scored a touchdown last night in Thursday Night Football. So starting off the weekend big, hoping it's a big weekend for sports betting. So I'm excited.
My good news is that's great. It's a big time sports bet win. You love to see that. My good news is that I think I've fully healed from the Tennessee-Alabama game trauma. I have now become at peace. That bothered me through Wednesday, that Tennessee-Alabama game. I'm a big podcast person, and I listen to a lot of college football podcasts. That's what I kind of do in my like free time kind of a deal. And I did not listen to a single college football podcast until yesterday. And I just didn't want to hear any of it from Saturday night through Thursday. I did not touch it. I was like, I don't want to hear it. I'm down. The Vols sucked. They blew it, but I'm turning back around. So like I've recovered from that Vols Alabama trauma. So you know what that means? I'm ready to get hurt again.
Oh, very nice. Who do they play this weekend?
Kentucky.
Oh,
At Kentucky.
You got nothing to worry about there.
Yeah, that's what Texas said last week. Before they went to overtime and won by 3.
Did they? I didn't.
Yes,
I didn't see that.
Kentucky beat Texas beat Kentucky 16-13 in overtime last week.
Nice. Hey, you guys might be better. You got a better shot.
Oh yeah. I mean, Tennessee should, but there's the whole Tony Vitello thing that happened. It was just a rough week for Vol fans. That's not good news, but it happened.
He'll probably be eligible to come back in like 3 years. So don't worry. I
just don't understand. Being a Major League Baseball manager sounds like a terrible life.
Oh, it's awful.
Why would you want to do that? Like I get like if I kind of understand the dream idea about it, but why would you want to do that? Like you coached roughly 60 games in college, 162 in the pros. It just doesn't seem like a good move.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's over twice the amount of games. It's almost like 2.5 times the amount of games, and every decision he makes over those 162 will be heavily scrutinized,
microanalyzed.
Yep,
and you're gonna get fired in 4-5 years.
Yeah, that's why I said he'll be back. You can just hire him back in 4 or 5 years. He go gets his bag. I mean, San Francisco still is not going to be anything. Like, I don't see. You could correct me if I'm wrong. He felt like a guy who like was very good on like the recruiting trail or like helped elevate that team at least a little bit there. Like, there's no recruiting. He's not doing any of that. It's managing a baseball team is just that, like making the roster, taking what the front office has given you and maximizing that. And like, he's going to make more mistakes. So
There you go.
then he does correct decisions.
All right. That is our show for the week. We will catch you guys on Sunday as JT and Easton will be live from Margaritaville, the Land Shark Bar and Grill, second floor, Margaritaville on 4th and Broadway. Traveler Whiskey and Miller Lite. It's a 3:25 game, which is a rare kickoff time for the Titans. So the pregame show will start right before 3 o'clock Central Time. So make sure if you want to come down there and hang out with Easton and JT, you can do that. The noon slate games will be all over the TVs. I know you guys typically get down there to watch the whole first games just early, so why not, right? Traveler Whiskey, Miller Lite, shout out to them. And we'll catch you guys next week. Have a great start to your weekend. See you later. Appreciate it.